right, thank you. Call this regular meeting of the Marion County Board of Supervisors to order. Danny, sitting in for Jake.
Yeah. McCombs,
Here.
Ramey,
Aye.
Johnner.
Aye.
Agenda,
Here.
is there a motion?
Make motion to approve today's agenda.
Second.
Ramey,
Aye.
Johnner,
Aye.
McCombs,
Aye.
Communications, anything in the auditor's office, Danny?
nothing from our office.
Supervisors?
Nope, I have none.
Nothing that we're not already going to discuss.
All right, very good. Public comments, portion of the agenda, the public can speak on items not listed on the agenda. Board can't act on those items. They could be topics for future meetings. Are there any public comments on items not listed on the agenda? Lisa, you have a public comment?
I have a public comment.
Okay.
I would just like to know where we're at with the lease for the parole and correction office. If there's an update from the board.
Okay. Public comment period. I mean, we
Yep.
can talk about it at a later meeting. They can come and talk to you directly, but.
Yep, thank you.
Is that all right?
Yep.
All right,
Perfect. Thank
very
you.
good. Thank you, Lisa. All right, consent agenda. Is there a motion?
Make motion to approve today's consent agenda.
Second.
McCombs,
Aye.
Ramey,
Aye.
Johnner.
Aye.
Very good. On to business. We have a discussion and action item for Marion County Truck Engine Brake Ordinance. Who's got that one? Yes, sir.
You want me to speak?
Yeah, if you don't mind coming up to the mic, or do we have is the portable mic around anywhere?
Name's Brian Phillips. Is this working? Can't hear it. Brian Phillips, 477 Highway 92, Pleasantville. I live first farm east of the Y, they call it, south of Pleasantville. And the engine brakes are going to drive me crazy. There's a lot of truck traffic. Everybody knows there's a lot of growth in Des Moines and they need rock for concrete, and it's every 30, 60, 90 seconds. They all use their engine brakes. There's a lot of grain goes to Eddyville from south central Iowa, Orlandis and Carlisle. A lot of livestock trucks, grain trucks. It's just the way it is. It's family farm, been there a century. My understanding, my great grandfather, state senator, saw to it that Highway 5 got paved back in the early 1900s to get coal from Knoxville area to Des Moines for a good supply route. So be careful what you wish for. I guess I'd like to see an ordinance to reduce, eliminate engine brakes, Jake brakes, whatever you call them. It's not how I want to wake up every day at 5.
Okay.
And it's all day long. So,
Well, very
you know,
good.
it's level, it's flat. You know, if I lived on a hill, if there was a big mountain hill where they needed it or safety, I get it. I fully get it. But when it's nearly level, you know, it's a new 4-lane and they don't have to stop. I mean, it's a 35, 40 mile an hour curve, I suppose, quarter mile away from me. But they like to put on the engine brakes there, my house or maybe a little bit further east.
Right. Do we currently have an engine brake ordinance? Oh, sorry, Jared, I didn't see you step out. Do we currently have an engine brake ordinance?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I'm seeing on my paper here that looks like they attempted one in 2012, but I don't know whatever happened, whatever
Yeah.
became of that.
I'm
curious.
unsure. I'm not
Okay.
sure what happened with that. We can look into it. I know that my office was asked to weigh in on whether we can do this or not, and I believe that we can. It's a little more complicated issue than we first thought. The more we dug into it, there's some kind of conflicting things, and we just need a little more time to figure this out, if possible, before I can give the board a definite answer. I mean, other counties have done this, and that's great, but I would like to have a little more authority before I tell the board, other counties have done it, so it's okay. So I just need I should have an answer by the next board meeting as to whether this is okay. And I can answer your question as well about what happened in 2012.
And
Huh.
Jared, I think part of that analysis, are there specific zones that a county can do this? In other words, can you target like a specific road, or is it a general ordinance? Those types of things.
Well, I think you could probably draft it however you wanted it, but I think it would probably most likely look like an ordinance that just had signage in certain zones that, you know, I believe that the county would have to pay for the signage and all of that if we're gonna do that. But yeah, I think we could target specific zones if we wanted to. That
Okay.
was the board's desire.
Very good. Board, any questions for Jared?
Well, the question that I initially had was, can we regulate on state highways? I mean,
And that's the main issue we're
That
looking
is,
at.
that is the question, right?
Yeah.
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 And I also would like to consider, how do you enforce it other than just putting, like a sheriff out there? Because obviously phoning in all the time, I mean, that's after the fact. And then also depending upon signs and cost, what that's going to cost the county. And that would be, depending on how we would do it, whether it be one location or all across, that'd be a lot of new signage.
we'd have to identify those locations if we were gonna do it that way. Or if
Yeah.
you did a countywide ordinance, you still gotta identify locations where you're gonna place signs.
I think some counties put them as you enter into the county on different main highways or different things, but the problem is there's so many to try to do something like that. Like I mentioned in my email, I'm not against it. I think there's certain areas, I mean, he has a good point, that if I lived in a spot like that, it'd be frustrating. But what's hard, and Keisha, you mentioned it, is kind of the enforcement side of it. It'd be after the fact a lot of times if somebody was there at an intersection and saw it. But one of my worries is we hope that the law-abiding citizens would follow that. But what if you put up signs and like say in front of your property, does it encourage people that want to be a jerk even more to do it? I mean, that's that flip side of it or whatever, because you can't have somebody sitting there the whole time. And so is it one of those, do you have somebody that once you says, oh, watch this, I'm gonna do this even more? Do you not? Do you?
Right.
Well,
How do you try to balance that? And Brian and Tyler, I mean, probably have a better idea on certain areas, or I can probably name 3 or 4 places where we have had people call about it before. But the thing with it is then do you, when you start doing it, do you have every place in the county that has a place, out along one elevator road or somewhere else? That's like, okay, I want a sign here now. I want a sign here now. And
Yeah.
that's the hard part too. It's like, how do you balance to do that? So
Sure.
it's not that I'm against it or whatever. There's just, I agree with Jared. There's a lot of factors that go into it. And if I lived where you lived, I kind of understand that also, but.
So it sounds like we've got some research yet to do, Jared, and also considering the enforcement side of the equation. And so Brian, we'll do the research. It'll come back to the
Sure.
board.
Sure.
At a
Yeah, I
future
wasn't
date.
aware of a 2012 proposal. I wasn't aware of that. So it wasn't me.
Okay.
I
They
started out
probably
with
had the same
DOT.
questions. Probably had the same questions in 2012.
Yeah.
I started with the DOT, couple different people, and they sent me to the county, sent me to the sheriff, and then board of supervisors.
Okay.
So I've tried to
Follow the
down
follow the
who to talk
path.
to and follow protocol and yeah, do I want a sign in front of my house? Yes. I think it makes sense to have it through Pleasantville because I think the speed reduces at my house from 65 to 55 and it goes all the way through Pleasantville. And a lot of speeders go through Pleasantville. They go 65, 70, even though it's 55. So there's people that ignore signs, no doubt. But I think I have people that go to my church and they say, how can you stand it out there? It bothers us in town. I'm 2 miles south of Pleasantville.
Mhm.
So those Jake brakes reverberate. And wind direction makes a difference too. And, but I think it makes sense to maybe have one there at my house as well as north of Pleasantville as you enter Pleasantville at 55.
Okay.
They don't have to stop or slow down like they do at my house. That's the kicker is where they have to slow down and make the curve.
Right. So Jared, when you're ready, when you've got your research done, bring it back to the board. All right,
Thank you for
very
your
good.
time.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it very
Thanks,
much.
Brian.
Board, any other questions or discussion? If there isn't, then is there a motion to close discussion?
Make motion to close discussion.
Second.
Ramey,
Aye.
Johnner,
Aye.
McCombs.
Aye.
All right, next, extension agreement. We've talked about this in a few meetings. So this is for the Prairie Ridge, the next edition of Prairie Ridge and the urban renewal agreement. I don't know who's got that. Had some issues on LMI, and Keisha raised some discussion on whether the county could have some control over LMI dollars. Mike, you were going to do some research on that. I don't know if yep, there you are. Can we, Emily? Hey, Mike, Mike, we can't hear you.
Okay. Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. What we have today is a proposed extension agreement that was prepared by the city's legal counsel. And what it requires the city of Pella to do is seek input from both the Marion County supervisors as well as the Pella Community School Districts on how the LMI funds are spent within the city of Pella. This agreement would still need to be approved by the city of Pella as well as the Pella Community School District, but we believe that addresses the intent or the concern expressed by the supervisors on how the LMI funds will be spent. And once again, it obligates the city to seek input from the supervisors with that. And with that, I'd be happy to address any questions the board may have on this.
Okay, are there any questions for Mike on this topic? Language has been changed in the agreement to reflect some of the board's concerns. Jared, I assume you've looked at that language and are okay with that?
Yes, and I don't have any issue with the language of it. We discussed it and I think it fits the board's intent as far as I
Okay.
know.
Very good. Keisha, Steve?
Yep, I don't have any, I've spoke with Mike about it and told him I didn't have any issues with it, so.
Okay,
Okay.
is there a motion?
Yep, make motion to approve the extension agreement. And regarding the Prairie Ridge West Urban Renewal Area.
Second.
Johnner,
Aye.
McCombs,
Aye.
Ramey.
Aye. All right, very good. Mike, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Next, we have an appointment, Marion County Representative to the City of Pella Board of Adjustment, Merlin Rolfs, fill a vacancy to 1128.
Correct. Yeah, I can take this one.
Yeah.
I was, Cynthia with the city of Pella had reached out to me and, saying that, Merlin had applied and, wanted to submit it to us. So I had asked Jake to put it on the agenda. I see no problems with this. Merlin is very qualified. He has an engineering and agricultural background. And he has
Excellent.
already served in other boards, so.
Very good. Steve, any questions?
Nope, I know Merlin. I think he'd make an excellent choice.
All right, good. Is there a motion?
Make motion to approve Merlin Rolfs to the Board of Adjustments.
Second.
McCombs,
Aye.
Ramey,
Aye.
Johnner.
Aye.
All right, next we have resolution 2024-91. Missy, is this you?
Yes, this
All
is
right.
me, and I believe Andrew Collins is online if you have any questions. I did give you, Keisha had some questions. What this pertains to is we had an agreement put in place in April 2023. If we had any big projects come through that we needed extra review on, to have Mid-Iowa Planning have a contract with them. But we do have a couple very large projects coming forward, at which point we realized that and we hadn't utilized it, the contract had expired. So that's why I'm standing here today. We need to get it in place. Keisha had a few questions about, because instead of just a flat rate, a static rate, I guess the guidance is to implement kind of the floating rate, and here's the formula I gave to you. It's pretty much comes out to be the same, pretty much the same fee we'd had set forth. I think the other contract was 85. So, but this way, it can be an ongoing contract and not a contract that, expires and we forget about it or whatever.
All
So,
right.
yeah, I don't know if
Thanks,
you have any
Missy.
questions for Andrew, but.
Yeah, board questions?
Missy, I know you had this agreement before and this would replace, we used to have some outside counsel.
Yep,
that
we used to have Snyder. We still do have a similar contract with Hopkins and Huebner. I will tell you that is a rate of $240 an hour. So we use that only when I've had discussions with Ross and he says, yeah, that's kind of, it's gonna take me a while to research it. Why don't you just reach out to Hopkins and Huebner and get a formal opinion from them? But you know, we've worked with Lucas and Andrew. Obviously, we're working with them on the comp plan right now. And because they are essentially the form of a cog, you know, a government and entity, then we can utilize their expertise if we need to at a much more reasonable rate.
See, the only thing I would ask is, has the county attorney's office reviewed this contract?
We have not had them review it. I can certainly, I mean, it's pretty standard to the last contract that we had in place with them, but if you want me to have them review it, I can certainly.
Well, I always think it's important that they at least look at it before we, you know, that's what they're there for
Okay.
us, just to make sure. I mean, I don't see any problem from my standpoint, but I just want to make sure that it represents us, you know.
Okay,
So,
I can certainly do
and if
that.
we could do that and then maybe put it on the next agenda, I would prefer that,
Yeah,
so.
Steve?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the agreement either, but if you want to review it, that's fine with me.
All right, so let's see if you'll send it to Jared and Jared review, and then we'll put it on the next
Okay,
meeting.
I will do that.
Let's go ahead and have a motion to close
All
discussion
right,
then.
thank you.
Thank you. Make motion to close discussion.
Second?
Ramey,
Aye.
Johnner,
Aye.
McCombs.
Aye.
All right, we've got holiday resolution. Lisa?
Yay. I just prepared the resolution for 2025, left everything the same that we had last year. Danny did forward the state's scheduled holidays for 2025. Again, the only difference is President's Day, that the county would be closed President's Day, the court would still be open. I think that was the same as last year also. So
All right, board discussion.
I don't have any.
No.
All right, is there a motion?
I make a motion, we approve resolution 2024-89.
Second.
Johnner,
Aye.
McCombs,
Aye.
Ramey.
Aye. Very good. Public hearing, we'll declare the public hearing open. Got several parts to this, Tyler. So we've got proposed vacation here. So maybe walk us through, we got three elements to this, so. kinda
Yeah,
Walk us through each element. Do you want us to take these in mass or separately?
that's up to you. I mean,
Jared,
I
how
would
do we have to-
recommend,
We got three different pieces to this. Can we consider this as a whole, or do we have to take this in steps?
and one would be a portion of Jefferson Street, the other two would be the alley north and
Correct.
south of Jefferson.
That is correct. Can we, any issues, Jared?
No, I mean, it's the first time I've considered that, but I don't think so. If you want me to look into it, I certainly can, but
I just question as I'm looking at the different elements here. So if we can take it in whole, then we'll do it in whole. So
That's the resolution is as whole, I guess.
I don't want to just give you a off the top of my head opinion. So if you want me to look at it, I'm certainly happy to do that and give an opinion, but I'm sorry, I haven't had a chance to take.
no,
that
it's
on this
okay.
one.
No worries. No worries. Tyler, maybe just walk us through and then we can discuss.
Yeah, so we've preliminarily discussed this before when we were negotiating or in discussions with the co-op over the last 10 years. So the unused portion of Jefferson Street is being proposed for vacation, as well as the alley. All parcels are largely surrounded, if not entirely surrounded by Two Rivers Co-op property, with the exception of the north portion of the alley, which has the brown and blue shaded areas being adjacent to other property owners, which we have heard from one of them for sure. Don't know if they're on Zoom or anything today, but no objections that we're aware of. But this We acquired some right of way from the co-op recently. This would allow them to have better utilization of the properties surrounding the right of way that's being proposed for vacation.
Board, any questions about this? This is a public hearing, so are there any public comments? Tyler, you didn't get any feedback from any of the neighbors or anything, right?
No, we had nothing in objection.
Okay.
We had a conversation with, remind me of it. Ango, which would be the blue property. But he was okay with the road vacation.
I think in the past, Mark, we've done street and alley vacations all in one motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just to make sure we don't run into any problems by doing it. You can do a resolution with 3 parts. There's no problem with that as long as somebody doesn't come back and say, I object to part 2, but not part 1. So if you guys are comfortable with that, then I see no issue here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm comfortable with that
Okay.
as presented.
Are there any public comments? Emily? All right, let's go ahead and close the public hearing then. Is there a motion?
Make motion to close the public hearing.
Second,
McCombs,
aye.
Ramey,
Aye.
Johnner,
Aye.
All right, board, we've got to consider this now with resolution 2024-90.
Don't have any further questions.
Steve?
No, I do not
We
either.
talked about this before.
Yeah. I make a motion, we approve resolution 2024-90.
I'll second.
Ramey,
Aye.
Johnner,
Aye.
McCombs.
Aye.
All right, very good.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
All right, EMA Advisory Council, we talked about this in the last meeting. This was a list presented. And Jared went through that. So we presented the list. Are we approving this, Jared? What's the request? Because we kind of discussed it last meeting.
I think there are some others that want to speak on this issue. As I've said before, it's up to Marion County EMS to create this list. And so I know there's been some discussions that have been outside my purview. And I think there are some folks that want to say some things here today about it. At least that's my understanding. So.
Oh, okay. And who would those be?
Good morning. As you saw in the email, differing opinions between Cal and I. Ultimately, it's your decision. But when the county attorney met with Cal and I, the intention of having you bring it up at the last meeting and not take action was to provide awareness to the public and therefore see if anybody expressed interest that felt like they needed to be involved in the committee. With that being said, I feel like Pella Regional has done exactly that and therefore should be included. But ultimately, it's up to you.
Okay, so they're the add to the list?
They would be the
Jeff?
ad.
Okay,
My recommendation was a non-voting member, but ultimately, again, it's up to you.
okay, all right. So, Yeah,
Yeah, is
go
that like, you want it to be, because I think you had a person in mind, is that correct? Or they?
Tracy Hall was the one that
Okay.
expressed interest. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jared. She's the one that contacted Jared's office, so
okay. So
she's
the-
represented previously on that committee and several other boards with public safety.
So as a possible non-voting, okay. I know that before Steve had made comment about not wanting to be be.
Yeah, I don't feel, I think it's a conflict if I'm a voting member. I would prefer not to be a voting member of the council because I think there's a conflict. That's my opinion.
And I guess maybe, Steve, I guess I'm gonna ask this question is that if that means then there is nobody from the county aspect. And I do think there should be somebody other than the townships, but there's nobody from, the electeds representing. So, I mean, I kind of feel
A
that.
voting member, you mean?
Yeah. That there should be a voting member.
I don't feel it should be one of us. I mean, that's my opinion, because I think that's a conflict.
I guess I see it differently, but I mean, I respect what you're saying though. I mean,
So
mean-
first question I have though is what about the question before the board, which is the addition of Pella Regional on the list?
I personally don't have a problem with that,
is a non-voting member.
as a non-voting member. I mean, obviously that's where the people that they're going to transport them to, so they should have some type of input. I have no problem with that at all, that they have some input.
Okay,
I don't have a problem with Tracy Hall being
so
added.
there's general consensus on having Pella Regional on the list as a non-voting member. We've not formally approved this list or done any action from a board standpoint. Is that the request of what do you guys want?
Well, it's not up to me
No.
where this lands, but I will say this, that the law does not require this board to approve the EMS council. That's not in the code. However, if you want to, you certainly can. And so if the request is, look, we want to make sure this is formalized, then I can draft a resolution that, formalizes and approves this list as it is, or not. So that's kind of the board's decision, whether you want to take action on it or not.
Well, you probably need to, at least at a minimum, I mean, you guys are discussing whether or not we should have county representation. Is that something you want to add, not add?
Well, I think we're gonna have that decision when they come before us with a request to put it on the ballot. And I think that's when we make our call. That's my
But you don't
opinion.
want to have anybody on here right now as far as the committee. Is that what I'm hearing?
I don't mind being on the committee. I don't think I should be a voting member.
Right. And Keisha, you think we should have a say? Okay. So Jared, we probably need to put this in a formal action and bring it before the board and have a discussion and then approve the list.
Okay.
I do
will-
have something to say that I would like to.
Well, let me finish this thought first, Steve. Probably you need to, Steve and Keisha, you got to think about county representation, vote, non-vote, and just leave a blank if the board approves somebody or doesn't.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes.
Okay, Steve?
Well, with all due respect to the entities that provide EMM services and whoever is going to be involved in this is not a money grab. This is my opinion. This is not a money grab. This is an effort to provide EM services to all the citizens of Marion County in an organized and efficient manner. That's what this council needs to focus on. I think some of this kingdom mentality stuff needs to go away. We need to focus on Marion County citizens. Now, as far as I've had people tell me that maybe the mayor shouldn't be involved. I have a little different opinion on that. I think they should be involved in this council because they already charge their respective citizens for this service. So to me, they have to evaluate and possibly modify the costs that are already being charged their citizens. So I think they should be somehow involved in this process. Because you get the appearance of maybe being a double tax, and I don't think that should be the point.
Hey, Steve, not to be disrespectful, but the issue before us is the advisory council. And if we want to have a further discussion.
I know, but if they want.
Well, I get that, but it's not an agenda.
Let me
item.
finish. If they want to put the mayors on that advisory council, I'm okay with that for that reason. Okay, I'm done.
All right, well, thank you. Keisha, anything you want to add?
I just would like to state that I do think it's important that we do, I mean, Steve, even if you're not wanting to serve, and I respect that, I look at it as we are a board, there's 3 of us. Just because we have one person voting, that doesn't mean that we're speaking just as our one vote. And then it's got to come back to us as a vote as a whole as the ballot.
I
So-
don't want the appearance of being a conflict of interest, so.
Okay, all right.
All right,
But
Jared,
I respect that. I understand where you're
you
coming
come back with something for the board at another meeting?
I will.
Very good.
I'm willing to serve on the council, but just not as a voting member.
We got that. Is there a motion to close discussion?
Make motion to close discussion.
Second,
Johnner,
Aye.
McCombs,
aye.
Ramey,
Aye. All right, updates, Steve,
I have none.
Keisha,
I have any.
and I have none either. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Make motion, we adjourn.
Second,
McCombs,
aye.
Ramey,
Aye,
Johnner.
Aye.
we are adjourned. Thank you.